Tropical Storm Francine trying to get its act together still. But it looks like it's undergoing some strengthening right now and will likely become a hurricane very shortly. So we're going to talk about a lot about Francine, what happened with Francine yesterday after the video, and what to expect going forward. And stay tuned. At the end of the video, we're going to talk about a potential threat possibly next week somewhere along the East Coast. We talked a little bit about that yesterday in yesterday's video, and getting some more data in, and it's looking rather interesting. So we'll touch on that as well. But first, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button so you can get those future updates, as well as helping this channel to grow. It's a brand new channel. Hopefully you like the content. So please, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button and help us to grow. But let's get right into it. So Francine, located right on that X there, moving northeast, and it's going to continue to move northeast. And so that's why we're thinking a landfall somewhere along the central or southeastern Louisiana coast, most likely as a hurricane sometime tomorrow night, with tropical storm winds moving in before that, probably tomorrow morning. The track has shifted slightly eastward, so Louisiana, New Orleans, you now could be pretty close to the center of this storm. So hurricane force, at least hurricane force wind gusts should be expected there. Hurricane warnings up along much of the Louisiana coast, tropical storm warnings to the east of that, and even a tropical storm watch into Alabama, and then tropical storm warnings and watches up for the Texas coast. So let's actually hop over here to the water vapor. So yesterday we looked at the water vapor when Francine had just become a tropical storm, and it was actually looking really healthy at that point. Had beautiful outflow, wasn't really taking on much in the way of dry air whatsoever. But that changed as the day went on and started taking a little bit of dry air, and these things rely on a pretty delicate balance to continue the formation and development. And even just small things, seemingly small things, sometimes the models don't even see it, can be enough to undo these systems. But it's back. It is fought off that dry air pretty well, and it's getting its act back together. It's a little bit smaller than it was yesterday, but we can see this convection firing up just to the north of the center, so it likely is undergoing strengthening right now. So it would not be surprised to see a little bit later on today this develop into a hurricane. As far as intensity goes, my thinking on this really hasn't changed much. If we talked yesterday, we talked about this becoming a 1 or a 2 with an outside chance of 3. I think that's still what we're looking at. I think this thing gets to a 2. Certainly probably going to be a 1 here shortly. The 3, category 3 storm, it's, I would say, slim at this point, but certainly can't discount it. So if we look at the hurricane tracks here, you can see tightly clustered, a little bit of spread after 24 hours, which is typical, but again, all the models have it bring into central Louisiana coast or southeastern Louisiana coast and going pretty close to New Orleans, Baton Rouge. So hunker down for this one. You guys are in for some nasty weather tomorrow. Let's actually look at one of the hurricane models, and we can see bringing Francine on shore somewhere around, we'll say around 7 p.m. tomorrow. Again, the timing on that could shift a little bit, but pretty nasty weather, especially ahead of the storm. And I think once Francine enters the northern Gulf and really approaches the coast, we see it really become northern heavy. We talked about this yesterday, as there is some dry air and some shear that it's going to be encountering, as well as some sea surface temperatures that aren't as warm as you would think. There has been a lot of rain and unsettled weather along the northern Gulf Coast, kind of stirring up that water a little bit. So we might see a leveling off or weakening as Francine comes in, but still expecting it to be a hurricane 1 or a 2 as it comes on shore tomorrow. So let's actually take a look at expected rainfall totals. It's going to be a lot of rain, obviously. So the yellow is 4 to 6. That first shade of orange is going to be 6 to 8. And then we have a little bit of a swath of 8 plus. So a lot of rain coming. And then once Francine actually moves inland, it's going to move up, kind of up the Mississippi, and spread that heavy rain up. So flash flooding is likely and even possible as you go further up into Mississippi, even Tennessee, possibly even southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, western Kentucky. You'll see, even though that it's going to be much weaker at that point, you're still going to have to deal with this system to one degree or another. So That's what we're looking at, Francine. So, if you are along the coast, prepare now. Francine is coming. It is likely to be a hurricane. It's going to start to pick up speed. Even though it hasn't really moved a whole lot since yesterday, it's going to pick up speed, and it's going to be here before you know it. So we're going to have to see, how much it develops here, how much it strengthens over the next 24 hours before landfall. I think that's kind of its window, 12 to 24 hours to really get its act together. Then I think it kind of levels off a little bit. I wanted to touch on this real quick. So this is the Canadians. We talked about this yesterday, about something trying to pop up. I was looking at the European ensembles, and it looked like they were trying to hint at something developing off the southeast coast next week. And a lot of the models are now showing at the GFS. This is the Canadian model, and this is next Tuesday. You can see an area of low pressure, and then it moves it into the Carolina coast and kind of slows it down. So it could be a lot of rain. We'll see. It kind of almost has like a subtropical look to it. So hopefully over the next few days, as these models kind of latch on to this threat, we'll know more. The European AI, which did such a good job with Francine, this is the first model to really jump on this next threat. And then even looking further down the road, the European ensembles are hinting at maybe a couple different threats along the East Coast. So for now, it's just that it's a threat. It's nothing imminent at this point, but definitely something to watch. And not just along the southeastern coast. I mean, some models are bringing it further north in the mid-Atlantic. So really, if you're anywhere on the East Coast, you want to pay attention to this. So please hit that subscribe button so you can get those future notifications. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.